All right, let's go over a couple little things. I want to talk a little bit about tech and a little bit of how to get your tech a little bit better. Okay. So, one thing I want you to do, and let's kind of go over here with this robot real fast. We'll work on this guy. So, I think tech is a lot of about kind of shapes and perspective. So, if we look at this guy right here, we have the chords going this way, right? But I didn't account for the chords going the opposite way. So if we think really hard about this, I'm thinking about, okay, they're all over here, these large wires, these chords that go underneath his shoulder. So logically, they'll be going underneath on that side. But I didn't draw that, but I need to, right? So how do I think in 3D, right? I'm thinking about this shape. This is even. It would be somewhere over here, somewhere. And so you kind of constantly have to think in three dimensions. So I'm thinking about this overall shape since it's flat on this side. If I was to look at this right now, okay, this shape is probably something like, let me see, like a wedge, right? Like a slice of bread or something in one direction, something like that. Something like a slice of bread. That's probably what this thing is like. So line right here, and then curve along this side. You know, it's pretty flat around the front, right? And it goes down the side over here. So it's like flat across the front, down the side. So that means I know on the other side, if it's roughly a little bit downward, like right over here, then it's going to be like that on the other side too. And you just approximate, right? So over here, I'm going to draw a wire like that. It's going to go underneath there. Something like that. And it doesn't have to be exact, right? You could be wild about it. You could make it exact, but you don't really have to do that, right? And then now you have the wires on the other side, kind of going underneath the armor right there. We can kind of darken it up to make it a little bit more obvious. So that sort of conformity is really big. When we look at other parts of this guy, other parts of this page, so you're looking at maybe this guy over here. We're looking at this part over here. We're thinking of different wires, right? So if I look at this over here, how do there's a lot of the same repeated shapes that I'm putting in there over and over and over again, because that's what you want to do as well. You want to go to some of your shapes that you use all the time in design language. So if I was to look at this guy over here in his neck, it literally is just a circle, right? I'm thinking of like a circular shape. Maybe it's like a half circle, almost like a ball cut in half. And I'm thinking of, you just put a circle inside that, and now you think, is that circle right here, is it concave or convex? Is it concave going in or convex coming outward, right? Like that button shape. You draw another circle on the inside of that, right? So maybe now it's more concave. And then maybe you put another one over here, and you can, if you want, you can change the shape of it. But we're going to have a circle in it anyway. Where what I'm doing is I'm playing with shapes, right? I'm playing with shapes, and I'm more or less just kind of doing what I feel in the moment, because this is just a sketch. And the cool part about this is it doesn't require like that much know-how. And then I connect them with like a wire right there, right? And the wire is usually plugged in through like a port, and we're kind of putting that on that side. And like I said, when you're doing this, you're just toying with shapes. And the thing is, see all this, it becomes a mess. But the reason this mess doesn't become like distracting, why doesn't that become distracting? Can you tell me? So this right here doesn't become distracting because of this area right here. You're thinking of one area as, you're thinking of like large relaxed areas right here with not that much information, and then really tight areas over here with complex areas. Over here, same thing. Your eye rests, and then as more complex in the joints and places where things move. That's where you can get as complicated as you want. And, you're learning your shapes. And the truth is, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter what's in these areas, because I think the more semi-realistic you make them look, the better it's going to be. It's the more convincing and more complicated and just better it's going to be overall. So try to, I was going to say, really, really try to think about that stuff, like the relaxation part right here, right here, right here. This relaxes your eye, and this is tensing up your eye. And the tense areas are something that I think you kind of just can pull up stuff, maybe on Pinterest, and just kind of copy some wire shapes and just have a repertoire in your mind's eye, right? I just gave you two. Like mine is like circle with circle on the inside, right? Connect wires, right? Have that port. And, you kind of wrap them, and then you start toying with that stuff. You start toying, and you're basically toying with, squares and shapes and, small versus big. That's all you're really toying with. But yeah. And I threw the flag back there right here to make it a little bit more organic, put like some cloth in the back. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And, this design right here, let's see, I can just draw an extra bulb or something in the back there. And this is a sketch, right? I'm just kind of fooling around. I'm more or less just taking my time. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Just taking my time, relaxing, and having a good time doing this stuff, which is what, the point of this stuff is, right? Is to have a good time doing this. I always say that. That's kind of my corny phrase is you want to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, it's going to get, miserable just trying to keep up. The thing I love about tech as well is it kind of reminds me of Monsters in the fact that you can do very complicated, it's very forgiving, right? Like if I'm drawing a portrait of a person, a specific person, there's not a lot of margin for error because you're kind of like, you have to draw that person, you have to be attentive, like to the details of them, right? You want to maybe make it look like them and stuff like that. But like with robots, especially when you're just sketching around, you can draw like this inner right here. That can be totally different depending on my mood, and it will still turn out, it'll turn out really good. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I wanted to give you that kind of feedback for the day. Hit the like if you like this sort of thing. I'm going to be posting a lot more. Also, I'm coming out with a program very, very soon to teach you how to draw anything you want out of your mind, out of your head, of course. So anyways, thank you so much, and I'll see you later.